we're clear. I bought a new from the library sale. Gotta mute that. I am legit going to rip this out before I forget. Put it down. Hi everyone, it's Audrey and welcome back to Chapter and Converse. Today's video is going to be like a mini unhaul, and I have welcomed some books into my life lately and ordered some books to join my life and I just don't have room on my shelf. And I'm like, these books are not going to make like that big of a difference, but I wanted to like go through. I haven't kind of done an unhaul since the fall and just sort of weed through kind of a first pass of books. And I will admit, as a whole, like I super struggle with getting rid of books for either like sentimental reasons or like I don't want to break up like a set by an author, even if it's not necessarily sequels, even if it's a book I know I'm not going to read again. If it looks pretty, I don't like to get rid of it. So I don't know if anybody has any tips on how to unhaul books, but I totally struggle with this. So I came up with like maybe like a dozen or so, and some of them are ones that I've talked about on this channel before. Some are just kind of completely random. So we're just going to kind of go through them, and I'm going to say what they are and why I'm getting rid of them. Okay, so some of these were like no-brainers, and the first one is Postmortem by Patricia Cornwell, and I'm getting rid of this because I bought a new copy of it from Book Depository a few months back. And this is the first in her series. It's on my reread list. I swear it's going to happen. I keep talking about it, but I'm going to get rid of the original. I have the newer / bigger version on my pile, so first one to go. Second book I'm getting rid of, I have also talked about on this channel, and it's called If You Want to Write by Brenda Euland. And I had listened to this on audiobook maybe like a month or so ago. I was in desperate need of some writing inspiration, and this was not it. So this is an old book. I want to say it came out like in the 30s, maybe. It doesn't even matter. It didn't work for me. 1938 was not my cup of tea, was not my kind of writing inspiration. I'm never going to read it again, so hopefully somebody else will benefit from this one. Okay, next book is another easy breezy one, and it is Watermelon by Marian Keyes. So I talked about this in my library haul. I got a new version of this, or like a new used one from the library, but it's in great condition. It's a bigger version of it. I don't love me a mass market paperback in general, so out with the old, already bought the new. The next one, which I haven't talked about on this channel because I read it before I started it, is Party Girls Die in Pearls by Plume Sykes. And she wrote Bergdorf Blondes is one of the books that she wrote, which is actually something I didn't like. And I mean, that's probably I think that was from 2004 because it was in my 2004 video. But it takes place in the 80s, 1985 at Oxford. It's like a mystery kind of thriller. One of the students is found murdered, and kind of these two girls, they're paired up as roommates, try and solve the murder. And I liked it but didn't love it. It's funny, like I look at it and I like folded down a whole bunch of pages in it. This has so many 80s references in it, and like pop culture references and style references and the music and all of that, which I love. And it's one of the reasons why I enjoyed it. But if I'm being honest, I'm not going to read it again. It wasn't like a favorite book. It was just kind of like a light, easy breezy, fun read. I would say like it's like a sugar rush kind of a read, which was good. But I also noticed just now when I was flipping through it, I had mentioned this in kind of one of my videos about my bookish habits. I write in the back of books when I have ideas for stories and things like that, so I need to make sure I rip that out before I donate it. And I also should probably reread it because maybe I had a spark of some major inspiration that's living in the back of this book. Next up is one that I have talked about here, and it's Pretty Nasty Lovely by Rosalind Noonan. And I read this a few months back. I bought it last year at Thriller Fest. I was disappointed. This is college campus, sorority. One of the sisters is murdered. The other sisters are suspects. One of them tries to find out what happened. Kind of the tagline on the top is "They're not your friends." I've talked about this before. As a former sorority girl, I love these kinds of sorority stories. Like, give me like a good Lifetime movie where they're in a sorority house and somebody dies. I just love it. But unfortunately, this one just didn't measure up for me. It was too problematic for me. There were just too many gaps and things I didn't believe. There were like a lot of loose ends. There were storylines that never got resolved that were like major, like not even just like a passing comment kind of a thing. Like, major storyline mysteries that never got resolved. So not a win, never gonna reread it. Off it goes into the donation pile. Totally random. Why Architecture Matters by Paul Goldberger. My dad is an architect. He was clearing out all of his stuff, gave stuff to me. I love architecture. It's definitely something we share. I love learning about buildings. I love learning about the history of buildings. But this is just not something I'm going to read over and over again. There's like some interesting things in it, but I've kind of like flipped through it, got what I needed out of it, and I'm going to move on, or let this move on and off my shelf. In the nonfiction category, this one hurts me a little bit, but not like too much, and it's Most Talkative by Andy Cohen. So I love Andy Cohen. I love Watch What Happens. I am a sucker for his shows. Like, give me The Housewives, give me some Bravo, give me Vanderpump. Like, I love it all. I read his second book. I don't know why I'm looking on the back, because it's obviously not going to be on there. This is his first memoir. I can't think of what the second one was called. It doesn't matter. It was totally fine. And I flipped through this. I just know I'm not going to read it. And I know I could always get it from the library. I think an audiobook version would probably be even more fun to listen to than reading it. But I just know I'm not going to read it. It's been sitting on my shelf forever, and I haven't even like made an effort to crack the spine on this one. So again, just going to get it out of here. Let somebody else have fun with Andy Cohen. I'm a fan. He's also a BU grad, so I love him, but unfortunately, I don't have enough love or interest in that book to keep it on the shelf. Another nonfiction, and this one I've actually talked about, is Everything is Perfect When You're a Liar by Kelly Oxford. I tried to read this for Buzzwordathon. It's like a bunch of like short essays and vignettes. I bought this a while ago. I actually wound up listening to part of it on audiobook and DNF'd it. So I don't know if like my humor was in a different place when I bought this book, and I literally bought this book probably like 7 or 8 years ago, or if it just I don't know. It doesn't even matter. I didn't like it. I'm obviously never going to read it. I couldn't even listen to the audiobook. I think I made it like the equivalent of 50 pages in. So off she goes. I feel like a lot of like failed Buzzwordathon books are going to pop up. Mary Kubika's Every Last Lie. I read this, I think it was the same Buzzwordathon because the word was lie. I also listened to the audiobook of this, and I just didn't like it. I've read other Mary Kubikas, or Kubika, I'm not sure which it is. I read Pretty Baby, I read The Good Girl, I really liked them. I have Don't You Cry on my shelf still, and I will still give that a go. I just didn't like this mystery, and this was like, it's a woman, a new mom, and she has like a 3-year-old, I think. And her husband and her 3-year-old are driving in the car, and then her husband is dead. And the wife is convinced that it wasn't just an accident. And this is a story of her sort of digging into his background, and he's got all sorts of secrets, and all sorts of things start to get revealed, but figuring out what actually happened that day. And their daughter was perfectly fine. She was in the car, like she witnessed it, but she was so young. She was hardly like a helpful, reliable witness. So I found, again, I did the audiobook of this, and I found the daughter so annoying. I don't know if she would be as annoying in the book, but as a whole, I wasn't happy with the ending. I wasn't happy with kind of the mystery and pace. There's some subplots which I didn't love. It just wasn't for me. This just wasn't my book. So again, it's leaving me. But I will read other Mary Kubika, no problem. We're in the home stretch, so don't worry. Next up is The Handmaid's Tale. This is another one where I have bought a new copy of this, a bigger copy of this. I got it at one of the book outlet sales. And this is my copy from college, so I'm like a little bit sad about getting rid of it. But at the same time, it's like all marked with highlights and stuff from when I was in school and notes, and it's probably like moderately distracting for a reread because it's all highlighted for school purposes and class purposes, but I am 100% going to reread this I'm probably going to do it in August because The Testaments, her sequel, comes out in September, and I'm so excited for this. And I also just saw online that Elizabeth Moss, who plays Offred in the series The Handmaid's Tale, the made-for-TV series, does the audio for a new version of The Handmaid's Tale. So they're re-recording it and she's the voice of it. So I'm almost even tempted to get that. So we'll see, or maybe I'll do like a little of both, but I love that she's doing the audiobook of it. So I have a new copy of this. I'm just getting rid of the old one. Another like totally random, I don't even know if this is like self-help or if it's, I feel like it's like maybe like a business book. I don't even know. So Small Move, Big Changes. Using micro resolutions to transform your life permanently by Carolyn Arnold. I don't know why I got this book, you guys. I think this was like one of my many life lows, and I was just like, looking for love in all the wrong places and thinking that this was going to fix me. This came out in 2014, so yeah, that explains a lot. There was some tough times in 2014, and I'm not making light of it, but there was a lot going on in my life then, so I can see why I picked this up. But like, I never even opened it. I mean, it's pathetic, but I never will. I mean, I really don't think I ever will. I have read a bunch of different self-help books. I have listened to different podcasts. I think there's better ways that I can connect with things that sort of help me move forward. I'm like better with blog posts and things that are more sort of my speed. Like I read Girl Wash Your Face, which I have talked about on here. Like I loved it. I'm excited to read Girl Stop Apologizing. I'm 100% waiting for an audiobook version to come out somewhere because that's the one that I want. But this woman, I'm sure this is lovely. Like I'm not poo-pooing the book. I haven't even read it, so I just know I'm not going to. But yeah, it's self-improvement that actually works with a mix of science and practical examples. I don't know, maybe I should give it a gander, but I feel like that's what's kept it on my shelf, is I'm like, oh, maybe I will someday read about how to get better sleep, which I think I figured out, and I think I've figured out a good connection with other things. So I just need to get rid of it. I need to get rid of it. Another book that I've been holding on to, thinking I'm going to read it, is Down the Darkest Road by Tammy Hogue. And this is, I think, the third in a series. And I read the first two books years ago, and I've unhauled the first two books. So I don't even totally remember the connections. So the detective is the same in all of them. I don't know if the surrounding characters are too, but at this stage, honestly, I wouldn't remember any of them. And I enjoy her books. I've read a lot of her books before. This one's a bit older. This came out in, 2012. I'm sorry, I thought it was older than that. I used to read a lot of her books and really enjoy them, but I just sort of switched gears for no real reason. I mean, just because you do. But I've been holding on to this one for a few years now, and I just haven't read it. And nothing about it compels me to. So it's this woman's 16-year-old daughter disappears. 4 years later, her this is terrible. Let me try that again. So nothing about this sounds interesting to me, and not that it's not an interesting book, but it's just not like pulling me to read it. So it's once upon a time I had the perfect family, then as in all fairy tales, evil came into our lives. So this woman, her 16-year-old daughter disappears. It's 4 years later. The woman and her younger daughter, looking for a fresh start, they move to this town, which is the town that's the same in all the other books. It feels like history's about to repeat itself. There's a cunning predator on the hunt. I think he's after her other daughter. So I don't know. I'm not going to read it. I just know I'm not going to read it. It's got to go. And then the last book I was going to get rid of, and this is one that I was having a hard time with because I feel like I need to give it a try, and it's The Long and Far Away Gone by Lou Berney. And I talked about this on one of my like Shop My Shelf videos, and this is a book, it's kind of crime, mystery, thriller maybe, that was recommended at a writing conference I went to by a mystery writer panel as a really great mystery book and a really great crime thriller. And I have like gone to get rid of it a few times, but I keep holding on to it because of the group of people who recommended it, and because it came from a conference, and because it came from other writers. And I pulled it off the shelf again this time, and I went on Goodreads, and the reviews on this are so strong, and I feel like I need to be in the mood for it, I think. And I'm not someone who does one of those like try a chapter things, but I think I really need to try a chapter or two and see if I connect to the writing or the story or anything before I just sort of blindly get rid of it. And this is the one, in case you missed my first video, it talks about like in 1986, there were 2 tragedies that rocked Oklahoma City. 6 movie theater employees were brutally killed in an armed robbery, and a teenage girl vanished from the annual state fair. Neither crime has ever been solved. So again, we're in like this cold case, unsolved thing, which I've been reading a bit of lately. And this book is 25 years later, and it's how both of those crimes have affected other people. And it's a girl who survived the movie theater massacre is one of them. And then I don't know... And then the other character, his older sister, is the one who disappeared from the state fair. So they somehow get brought together because of something that's happened, or I don't know if the case gets resurrected or what it is, but I think it's part sort of the crime thriller part of these unsolved cases, and then it's also the repercussions of both of those on the people who survived. So it sounds very interesting to me, and I have no good reason about why I haven't picked it up other than just, moody me. I just kind of haven't been in the mood for it. So I do think I'm going to hold on to it a little bit longer and give it a go. At least, like I say, try a chapter or 2 and see what happens. So I feel like I'm cheating a little bit, but I'm rethinking this one. I'm gonna save it. This is gonna be my safety, or my free pass. I don't know, whatever. I'm not gonna get rid of it. Okay, so I wound up with 11 because I saved the last one, and I realized I could probably get rid of some more, but I'm just not in that mindset just yet. Because I look at some books that I love, and I don't think I'm ever gonna reread, but I still feel fuzzy about them, and I don't want to get rid of them. But I would say let me know if you think I should keep any of these, but I've read most of them. I guess the only one would be like if anybody thinks this is worth saving, but at the same time I'm trying to make room for the books that I got. But let me know for sure if you have any strong feelings about any of the ones I'm getting rid of, or more particularly, if anyone has read this and what you think of it. And if you loved it, hated it, think it's worth giving a go to, any kind of feedback at all, I would love to hear it. So that is where I'm at. This is my baby Unhaul. And yes, making room for more things on my shelf. And I have started to really go through my books and kind of make an inventory list of all the things I haven't read. And I was thinking about doing a video on that. I think so many of the books you've seen kind of in unboxings. A lot of them are newer, I will say. But I am going to go through, see what's unread that I haven't talked about, and maybe just kind of do another like shopping my shelf kind of video of unreads. But it's worse than I thought it was, but at the same time I haven't finished, so I think when I balance it against the number of books I have read on my shelf, maybe the percentage won't be as disturbing as I think it is. So anyway, that's a video for another day. Thank you guys for watching this one. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you next time around. Bye everybody.